What's up, YouTube? This is a continuation of the 5-lug conversion. Gonna move on to the rear, and I guess I kind of moved onto the rear from the front, so I never made like an intro to the actual video. So yeah, I'm gonna continue on and try and get these rear hubs off without actually removing the entire knuckle and all the control arms and everything. So I'll get back to it and start by disassembling all the brakes and getting down to the hub, trying to get those hub bolts out and actually getting the hub off. We'll see what happens. Okay, so I'll start with this caliper bracket. I'll just go straight for the bracket bolts. Just seems like it's loose. Snuggles. Okay, well, I can get a good. I didn't realize the axle pushed through so far, and I get a good look through the back there. I may be able to get those bolts out. And I know a lot of people would like to see that happen. They get such a shallow head on them. That's the problem. Yes, sir. This is a 3/8 drive 19mm flex socket. This, I mean, there's some crud in there, but that's just from trying it on there now. This will be the first time I've used this socket, and I believe it's going to do the job. It's tight to work in here, and this bolt is pretty tight. But all I did is got a 1/2 inch socket, chrome, keep it thin walled, 1/2 inch ratchet, and just a short piece of pipe on top of the ratchet for some extra leverage. And you can see that bottom one's coming out. Now the bottom was pretty tight to actually get the gun in there, and I just thought, well, it pretty much looked like a straight socket would just go right onto the head of the bolt. So you can see that's all I'm doing. We're getting into a bit of a jam there. Bolt number 2. Just got my bar in there to jam the axle. This side will need the shock at least out of the way. That's number 3. That's number 4. I have to make a couple swings on this thing. Hopefully it'll break free. Sometimes you gotta get sometimes you just go ahead and you get a chisel to start coming down in the side, and that can crack it free. But if I'm able to get a good swing on the end of the flange, especially with a bigger hammer, a lot of times I get them loose that way. In some cases, worst case scenarios, you end up taking the knuckle off anyways because you've beat all this just to smithereens and the flange is still stuck in there. At that point you're looking at replacing the actual knuckle, but that's probably not going to happen here. I don't expect it to happen here. And the shaft's already loose inside, so that's not going to retain it at all. So yeah, just a couple good cracks with the hammer and it should come out of there. There, it finally pops out. After hitting it like that, you really wouldn't want to reuse that. That's good. So first thing I'm going to do here is go around, clean up this surface, get rid of all this loose scale, because the backing plate has completely rotted away. Without having a backing plate to actually put back on, it could have been considered a you know, a very thin spacer, and so the hub will be in a little bit more, and the rotor will be in just that little bit more. So there may be a slight odd pad wear. The inner may wear a little bit more. I'm not really concerned, but I do want things to sit nice and flush, so I'm going to clean up all this crud that's on here. So here I've got the new rear conversion hub, and slide it right onto the CV axle, and then just kind of leave it there for now. And I've got one bolt down here on the bottom I can see quite well. I just want to make sure I get it started and lined up properly. So you can see I got the hub on, it's all tightened up, never had to remove anything else. I'm sure this is a battle on some cars. I got really lucky, I guess. This is a really old car, lots of rust on it, but I was able to get the bolts out back in. So I'm ready to put the washer and nut on, and I gotta rebolt this shock back up, and I can start installing the brakes. So torque is supposed to be between 150 and 200. So we'll go up to 175. So now I can go ahead and put the rotor on. Now the 300ZX brakes are designed for the parking brake shoes to be on the inside of there, but I won't be using that type of setup with these. I want to make sure we put on this kind of locking washer. Just get it to a position where it lines up with the cotter pin hole really nice. This one doesn't want to cooperate, but got a new cotter pin to install. Now we can go ahead and put on our wheel spacer. So I'll torque up these ones the same as I did the front, 95. So I'll torque up the rear the same as I did the front at 95. So the next issue I have is I don't have these rear caliper pins to hold the pads. So I'm gonna try and make something. So I managed to get these pins made up. They're not exactly what I should be using, but like I've got these 2 longer pins cut down in length with some new holes drilled in them, and then the 2 STI pins with the double holes drilled in those. So I'm gonna use one on each side, something like this. And it's gonna work, but it's just not gonna be right, and eventually I'll have to get the right pins, I guess. So I've got the rear caliper for this side, and I don't know if you can see it, but this is the kind of stuff you get with reman. So you can see the threads in there. They're not the greatest shape. I'm just gonna have to take my time trying to thread this line in. I expect it to go in and line up. It's just that type of thing though that can hold you up and cause a major problem. So I'm pretty sure I got it to line up. Just gonna make sure I can turn it back a little bit every time. So I mean, if you weren't careful enough, you could just keep on cross-threading that to the point that either the line or the caliper, I mean, you're gonna have to do some thread repair or replacement. And so it's a good thing just to try and check out stuff like that before you start. If it's something you just got from your local parts store, well, just take that thing back and get another one. That type of thing leaves the factory all the time. A little bit of anti-seize again on these rear bolts. Just a tiny bit on the threads, don't even really need anything. So on the fronts I actually ended up breaking these squealers off. I'm going to do the same with these ones. I too oftenly check my brakes. No need for me to have a squealer. So now we get good fitment. And just take a little bit of the lube and put it on the edge of the pads. So I'll take my first homemade pin, just put some lube on it. And there you have it, some ghetto rigged rear brakes. This should be fine for now. I mean, I'm not going to be doing any high speed braking in the next month, so well, maybe close. But it'll do it for now. It'll allow me to roll the vehicle in and out and put the wheel on and stuff. So yeah, this caliper's came a lot worse than the other one. Even a lot of that grime they just didn't get out of the caliper. There was actually another set that I intended on buying, but by the time that I went to go order them, they were gone. But yeah, that kind of concludes this part of the of the rear brake conversion anyway. I mean, you'd have to go more forward and hook up your braided line up to the actual steel line and bleed out the brakes. But that's all being saved for another video. I've just got a lot of footage taken, and I've got to do a lot of editing to get these videos up. So I've got to move over onto the other side and finish it up. And at least at that point I can put the wheels on and roll the car out if I have to. And I think I'm going to have to. There's another vehicle to work on. All the parts have arrived for it. And I'm probably going to end up putting a video up of it anyway, because I've just got so many consecutive 240 videos up now. But this thing is going to have wheels on it very soon, and then it's going to be rolling out my driveway. You're going to get a good look at it. I'm going to get a good look at it. I've still got to order the product Plastidip for the body, so there's still some time. I've gonna have to put the stuff off. I figured mid-June I would have the car rolling, but I already realized that it's not going to be that soon. It's going to be more like the end of June. So if you like this video, especially me getting in these rear hubs without having to take off all the control arms, which is a big bonus, definitely give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for me. Leave your questions and comments further down below. I'll see you in the next one.